We are on Daf Chav Vav Amud Aleph. Now, Yaakov, for you, that is Perek Daled, right before the end of Halach Aleph. There's about 20 lines above that. There's Rabbi Shimon Lucky Shal Rabbi Yochanan. You got it? Okay. Rabbi Shimon Lucky Shal Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Shimon Lucky Shal Rabbi Yochanan. The following question. Aveinu also Mishum Baltis go to do. Now, this is an interesting thing. Our Mishnah discussed various minhagim, and the minhag especially of not eating, not doing work at Pesach. So it's interesting. Rabbi Shimon Lakish holds Lotis go to do doesn't just apply in the same town. If you have two different minhagim in Klal Yisrael, as Reish Lakish, that should be considered Klal Yisrael. Lotis go to do. In other words, if I have one minhag in Feri and you have another minhag in Tzipori, that in of itself should be Lotis go to do. All right, it's a contradiction to have various different groups of Jews doing various different things. That's his question. So again, Rabbi Shimon Lakish Shal Rabbi Yochanan. I'm sorry, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines to the bottom. Okay, did you see that? So, so it's an interesting answer Rabbi Yochanan gave him. It said, listen, our Mishnah is talking about a minhag. By a minhag, there's no lotis go to do. By halacha, if I were passing a Beis Hillel and you were passing a Beis Shimon, we have two different halachas in Klal Yisrael, that'd be lotis go to do. But by minhag, there's no such thing. Okay? So says more, Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish rejected this. He says, Yerushalmi Pesachim ain't halacha Beis Hillel. What are you talking about? We don't always pass like Beis Hillel. There's no lotis go to do in that case. We have one psak. That's what we follow. Rabbi Yochanan said, fine, I'll give you another example. When some people do like Rabbi Meir and some other people do like Rabbi Yosef, that is two separate minhagim. In that case, you have two separate halachas, that's lotis go to do. Says Reish Lakish said, no, Rabbi Meir Rabbi Yossi ain't a look Rabbi Yossi. Machlokes Rabbi Meir Rabbi Yossi isn't a look like Rabbi Yossi. So there too, you're not going to have two separate modes of conduct in Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Yochanan said, stop quibbling. Said Treit doesn't say that in the Gemara, but that's basically what he said. Treit Tanoim Inu not Rabbi Meir. Take a case of the two Tanoim argue what Rabbi Meir said. You have all the time two different traditions in the name of a Tano. So in that case, or Treit Tanoim Inu ad Rabbi Yossi, or two Tanoim argue what Rabbi Yossi said. In that case, we don't pass in halacha like one or the other. Rather, there are two simultaneous minhagim. That's lotis go do. But by minhagim, it's okay. There's no problem with lotis go to do. So Amar Lei, so Reish Lakish said, Harei Rosh Hashanah v'Yom HaKippurim b'Yehuda nogu Rabbi Akiva. Let's say you're right. What about the fact that we find that by Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there was I don't remember this from the Bavli, but there's a machlokas, it seems, in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, whether you do blow shofar by Malchius. Of course we do. But there's machlokas between Meir and between Rabbi Akiva and who's the other one? Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Whether you blow shofar by Malchius or not. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri holds that there is you may do Malchius together with Kedushas Hashem, or Zato Kodesh and Malchius are together, and you don't blow shofar after that. And Rabbi Akiva holds Malchius goes together with he also holds Malchius goes together with Kedushas Hayom without the Kodesh, but you do blow shofar. So in that case, so Amalei Arei Yerushalmi Yom Kippurim B'Yehuda nogu Rabbi Akiva, or the Galil nogu Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Isn't that lotis go to do? And that Yehuda and Galil had two separate halachas. So what do we do about that? Now again, I want you to know, everybody says this is fascinating. It should be fascinating. The Yerushalmi really is saying that lotis go to do applies in two separate towns. The Bavli never has such a concept. Lotis go to do is in the same city. If you have two people do two groups in the same city doing different minhagim, so that's lotis go to. The Yerushalmi holds it's by halacha. I don't know how Elu ve'elu fits into this. The Yerushalmi holds it's by halacha, and it's even two separate cities. Okay, it's a fascinating concept the Yerushalmi has. So That's true. I mean, the Bavli itself concedes that in Eretz Yisrael people got along better than in Bavel. Maybe this is a manifestation of that. Could be. So yeah, Amar Lei. Yeah, now it's the opposite. Amar Lei. So he said Shaniu. No, it's different. It says Amar Rebbe, but it should be Amar Lei. The Korban Edom makes the change. Amar Lei Shaniu. It's different. She'im Avar v'Asa b'Yehuda Kigalu uV'Gal Yehuda Yotza. But Kirshov, and the main thing is how you blew. Where you place it during davening, it's a nice question, and it has ramifications, of course, to the conduct of the service of the day. But the evidence you have you blow shofar. So therefore, it's not considered to be lotis go to do if you yaitz it with the other way of doing it as well. If each way it fulfills the minhag. So therefore, it fulfills the halachos. That's a bad example. Says again, therefore it's not a good example. All right, so he said, boy, and what about this example? What about Purim? Is this not lotis godu? Some people read on the 14th, some people read on the 15th. Of course, it's not. But he wants to know why not. So Rabbi Yochanan says, whoever arranged the Mishnah, I don't know what that means, arrange the Mishnah. I guess arrange the Megillah reading. It's interesting language. It seems I would say it's Anshe Knesset Agdola. But whoever arranged the Mishnah, Samcha Lamikra, they learned there's a special dispensation to discard the halach of Lotis Godu here. Why? Because it says explicitly in the Megillah, Mishpacha, Medina, Ir Va'ir. It says that each family is separate, each nation is separate, and each city is separate. So a special dispensation is uniquely relevant to this area of halacha. Okay? It says now getting back to our Mishnah. That's the end of Lotis Godu. Now we have a separate question. Nicha, I understand somebody goes from a place where you do malacha to a place where you don't do malacha, that he shouldn't do malacha. But if a person goes to a place where they don't do malacha on Erev Pesach, to a place where they do, why must he do malacha there? Vivatel, let him just go around without doing any malacha. Now in the Bavli, Azoy State, Itaka says in the Bavli, if you go to a city where they do malacha, you shouldn't do malacha, right? Because they'll just think either you're a batlin or a Talmid Chacham or both, right? So, but Yerushalmi says, takes that as an assumption that that's not good enough, and asks why it's not good enough. There are many people who don't work in that place, they're unemployed. Why can't you just join the ranks of the unemployed? So what's the conclusion of the Bavli? Is the premise which you of the Yerushalmi, the Havamina which rejects. It says Yerushalmi Taka, Rabbi Simon Shem Rabbi Yochanan b'matmiya. You taka, don't have to work. It's only if it's an astonishing thing that you're not working. My people are tameh. Yanko, we know every day he's very diligent and very much a workaholic. And here he comes to our city where we all work and he's not working. He's being Mashana Minuk. So in Achanam, the Yerushalmi says there's certain cases where a person comes to a city where they work Erev Pesach, should do work so people don't look at him like a sore thumb and see that he's being strange by not going and working. Okay? Halacha base. Kayetzebo. Similarly, Amolech Perish Shvius Mimakom Shkolu. If somebody takes fruit of Shemitah from a place where there's no longer any fruit of Shemitah left, and of course the moment there's no fruit of Shemitah left, then you have to do biur. You have to take the fruit which you have in your house and put it out into the street in order that the animal should have what to eat. So if you took your fruit from a place, you took fruit from a place where there no longer is any fruit in the fields. L'makom shloko, to a place where there still is fruit for the animals out in the fields. They're not yet gone. Or vice versa, l'makom shloko, from a place where they are not yet gone out in the fields. L'makom shloko, a place where they are totally eradicated. Chayav levaer. So he has to destroy whatever fruits he has. He has to accept the chumras of both places, meaning regardless of whether he went for a place where there is, a place where there isn't, a place there is, a place that is, he has to eradicate whatever fruit he has, meaning he has to put it out and make it hefker. Rabbi Omer, no. If somebody comes to him and says, Yankel, You got oranges? There are no oranges here anymore out in the fields. Go be mafkir your oranges. So you say to him, I brought my oranges from Florida. You get your oranges from Florida. I don't have to be involved in my oranges. Okay? Says Gemara, just examples of our Mishnah. If there are no more oranges left in Tveria, but there are oranges left out in the field in Tzipori, Amarlo, so he says to the guys in Tveria, I brought mine from Tzipori. If you don't believe me, say you go to Tzipori yourself, you find that they're out in the field. Rabbi Chanan, Rabbi Pinchas, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Shnei Mar Mudav Rechon. Rabbi Chanan, Rabbi Pinchas said that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi both said the same thing. Rabbi Yehuda's in our Mishnah, right, and we just quoted him and extended in the Brisa, that says that you go get the fruit, same place I got it, you'll find the fruit is there. Where did Rabbi Yossi say a similar thing? The Tanakh learns over there, normally when it's allowed to eat fruits in a place, as long as they're oranges, taking our example, as long as there are oranges out in the field for the animals. So no oranges out in the field for the animals, then you cannot go and just eat oranges at will. First you have to be mevire them, right? Be mafkir them, and then you can in fact reacquire them and eat them, right? What if there are oranges, but they're shamur? Now there's somebody who's not keeping Shemitah properly, and he's safeguarding his field. Normally, during Shemitah, you have to leave your field open, let anybody come in, animals too. But this guy has animals as oranges, but they're shamur. He's safeguarding them. He's a Baal Aveira. He's a Rasha. Shouldn't be doing this, right? But can I eat my oranges because he's got oranges in his field? And technically, where the animals allowed in, the animals could go and eat from that orange grove. So says Rabbi Yossi, says Tanakama, can't take into account fruit which is being safeguarded. Rabbi Yossi, you can also eat fruit based on the shomer. Amaloni, you say, I brought them from those which were shomer. If you don't believe me, sorry, I added a word. If you don't believe me, go and check that field which is being safe kept. You can go and bring from there as well. So, that even shomer can be a barometer, not just another location where, of course, it's the oranges there which are open, but even if there are oranges which are only closed up, nonetheless that's sufficient to allow a person to eat. Okay? Yeah. Do we pass on to Tanakama? Yeah, of course.
But that's contradicts the previous version about the working.
How are we passed in there? There was no Rabbi Yehuda there. Well, there was no machlokas previous Mishnah. Everybody said, do when in a city, do as they do in that city.
Doesn't that contradict what Tanakama says in this?
No, because this is bringing in another city. On the contrary, Rabbi Yehuda's inconsistent. Rabbi Yehuda says, I should go by the barometer of another city, even though it's not relevant here. But there's oranges in Tzipori where I came from, that suffices. Why should that be? I should go by whatever oranges are relevant, and Tveria. Okay? A place where they normally sell sheep and goats to goyim, you can sell. A place where they didn't sell goats and sheep. Why not? And you can't sell there. Why didn't they sell? Lest you come to sell large animals to the goyim. Now, why are you not allowed to sell large animals to the goyim? Who remembers? That would be a basic assumption. Then I wouldn't ask you. No, it's a trick question. Because they'll come to work with them on Shabbos. And people will think it's still your animal, and it's your animal working on Shabbos. Okay? Small animals don't do any work. They're not beasts of burden. So large animals are horses, cows, so that kind of stuff, you can't sell them. Don't get involved in machlokas. Needless to say, this is all a question of minhag. But now we're going to talk about the halacha. You're not allowed to sell them large animals. Agolim, even their calves, the sayochim or young donkeys, shleimim or shvurim, if their whole are broken. All those are forbidden. Rabbi says you're allowed to sell them a broken animal. Ben Beser Matir Basus. And Beser allowed a horse. Interestingly, because what do you do with a horse? You ride it. A donkey is a beast of burden. I guess a horse is not good at being a beast of burden. So a donkey you ride, a horse you don't. Riding on Shabbos is only a d'Rabbanan. And the Moshe says even if you use it for birds to ride, this is going to be something which comes up in the Gemara, that's still d'Rabbanan because Chayno says Atzma. I mean, the rice of the birds is carrying itself, so to speak. The horse that's for carrying is only a rabbinic prohibition. So that's going to be critical. That's why Ben Beseira allows horses. Okay? Mutter Legado. Now, Bnei Moshe learns this. Carbonate is a different pshat, but Lieberman agrees with Bnei Moshe. Mutter Legado? I don't understand. It says, we're talking about selling sheep and goats. You're not allowed to raise sheep in Eretz Yisrael. Right? We learned many times in Shas, raising sheep in Eretz Yisrael is absolutely forbidden because they go and graze in other people's fields, right? So how are you allowed to grow them? So Amar Rabbi Barabba said a very interesting answer. Kigol Mahir, that a special nature preserve, you know the one they give me Tarafat? The special nature preserve is supposed to be a joke. So the one they're giving, the special nature preserve, which is 16 meal by 16 meal, where the sheshus are mil, there they allowed growing a sheep. There was a unique area in Eretz Yisrael where they allowed growing sheep, and we're talking about people who live and work in that area.
Reminds me, there's one other time we came across Yerushalmi Pesachim. Came across Shisha in terms of there's only Shisha Mil that is heirs of Askelav and Dvash.
Did we come across that?
Yes, we did.
So it probably is Lav Dafka then. It's probably 16 is a standard measure which they use as an example. Okay, if you can find that, that probably indicates that that's a Lav Dafka. But they had a special preserve. Rashi, not the Rashi. Somebody says here, Moshe maybe. Yeah, it was a midbar. It was a desert area. So I guess the Eretz of Askelav Dvash would have been corresponding to that somewhere else. Okay. Havun boy, Tapach of Zayin Rav. Havun boy Meimah. They wanted to say, Madam Mutzalim Kor. He who says, now I told you really the reason for our Mishnah. You guessed wrong, right? But you could have guessed another guess, which the Gemara is going to guess, and that will also be a wrong guess. Okay, did you follow that statement? So the Gemara says, Havun boy Meimah. They wanted to say, Mandamar Mutter Limkor. He who said it's mutter to sell, mutter liached. It's mutter to allow a guy to do yichud with an animal, right? Because the Gemara understood that what's the problem? Bestiality. They might have relations, man with the animal, right? So they want to say that if you hold it's mutter to sell, must be it's mutter yichud. It's mutter to allow them to be miyah, to have yichud together. Mandamar Oslim Koya said it's also to sell. You can't let a guy alone in your barn, because you leave him out of your sight and they'll have all sorts of wild and crazy times in there. Rabbi Yoda, Rabbi Lezer B'Shem Rav said, maybe you could talk about this in your conference tomorrow. Rabbi Yoda, Rabbi Lezer B'Shem Rav said, even in Pidi Hotel, you're allowed to sell also liached. You're not allowed to be miyachi. You're not allowed to allow the non-Jew to have yichud with your own animal. Mabin limkor, mabin liyached. What's it selling and being miyached? Tamon mikem shumacholo. Over there, since you sell it to him, kibhem to shalakumu, then it's already the goy's animal. Now, the way the Korban Pnei Moshe explained it, that means that he only has relations with your animals, not with his animals, because it's bad for once an animal has relations with a person, human being, so then it can't give birth anymore. So he's not going to have relations with it. That's how they learn. But I remember, there's a Tzitz Eliezer, although I didn't have time to look it up today. Tzitz Eliezer brings down, I know he brings down this Yerushalmi, but I'm pretty sure the Yerushalmi serves as basis for this, that Lifnei Iver is only if you own something. If you sell a house to a guy, and he then uses it, say, for Avodah Zarah, you don't transgress Lifnei Iver, because it's already his. Lifnei Iver is something which you possess and give to him. But if here or you sell it to him, then whatever he does is not your achrayus anymore.
I told that to the yeshiva board 30 years ago.
No, you can't sell for a church.
It's not your possession.
No. You can't sell a special halacha. You can't sell a shul for a church.
What was for a Buddhist?
The yeshiva, that was the Mizrahi Center. Yeah.
But the board of the yeshiva was the board of Mizrahi's, obviously.
They sold it anyway.
So?
No, a shul. You see, we really shouldn't put the yeshiva's dirty laundry on tape. It's really not nice. But now that it's on, and he's a board member too. But now that it's on tape, we're not erasing it. But the thing is that the thing is.
My name is David Spin.
The thing is that it's a special halacha now to sell a shul for a church, but that's not because of Lifnei Iver. The Lifnei Iver shul doesn't apply. It's one of the hybrid form now do with an old shul. Avodah Zarah, Bursaki, Beis Akisa, and I forgot what the last thing is. But but in terms of Lifnei Iver, once you sell this Lifnei Iver, so you're not allowed to let him be miyach with your animals while you own them. But Lifnei Iver is not a problem. There's a very big nafkamina, of course. You sell your house nowadays. Who knows what somebody's going to do with your house? What people are going to move in. Of course, we live in Chutzah. It's a very big issue. Okay, so again, Mikantala, he came with Shumochel, Kaventa Shakum, with his animal. As long as it's in your domain, you're not allowed to let him near your barn. A place where the minig is not to sell, you do not sell. Why not? So again, the Yerushalmi is going to give wrong guesses. Lama. So first the Yerushalmi wanted to say, why could you sell a sheep? Because you can't shear it. And what happens with the shearings of a sheep? What mitzvah do you fulfill with them? Reishis Hagez, you give to a Kohen. So if you sell your sheep, you're depriving the Kohen, you're depriving so the mitzvah Reishis Hagez, you may not do that. Says Murab, okay, let's talk about goats. No Reishis Hagez by goats. No, Shumotzi Yamidei B'chayra. There's still the firstborn goat goes to the Kohen, and well, you redeem it. Don't redeem it. Then you wait till it gets a moo, you sacrifice it. If it gets a moo, you give it to the Kohen. Sorry. Hagat says we're fine. What if it's a male goat? Male goat's not going to give birth to any bechor, right? Says more, no. Still, shumotzia midei matonos. When you slaughter it, you give this royal chaim and keva, the arm, the cheeks and jowls, and the stomach to a kohen, and you're losing that mitzvah. So you can't sell many animals. Says, come on, give me a break. So you can't sell wheat. Because you're probably sell mitzvah challah. You can't sell him wine and oil. Because you could have made a bracha on it. And you did not make a bracha. So of course none of this is the reason. Rather, you know what? You're not, no matter what, you're not allowed to sell them large animals. What's it? It's your large animal that's alocha, that small animal which is a minhag. By a large animal, so the Isser Shabbos is the Isser D'Oraisa. You see an animal working on Shabbos, so you transgress Shvisas Behemto, Mechamer, whatever the animal is doing, things which are prohibited on Shabbos, Midoraisa. It's not really Chiv Chatas. Chiv Chatas, obviously your animal doesn't transgress. It means Isser D'Oraisa. Right? I've had that before in Yerushalmi. Chiv Chatas means D'Oraisa as opposed to the Rabbona. However, by a sheep or a goat, you can't transgress any malacha d'oraisa on Shabbos because they didn't use them to carry loads. They're not used for that purpose. Nor do they pull plows or anything of that sort. There's no d'oraisas. Says more what? Huh? There's no chiyuv chatas. Ve'enu cholev ve'enu gozis. Can you milk a goat? And that's a d'oraisa. Can you shear a sheep? And that's a d'oraisa on Shabbos. So why are we not afraid that people see those malachas d'oraisa being done with the goat or the sheep and think that it's still a Jews and think that's what to do? Says the Gemara. Very strange language. Tamon over there, who mischayev? By milking, again, mischayev literally means to be liable, but slav dafka, you're liable regardless. What it means is by milking and shearing, the person does it. So nobody's going to think it's the Jew who's responsible. Let's say a goy came and started shearing his sheep. A goy came and started milking his cows, because it's not his goats, because it's not him doing the milking. Yeah, it's chefta gavra. It's chefta gavra, I would say. Yeah, that could work too. So as opposed to a case where the animal is actually doing the work, there it says Baram hacha hi mischayeves, which literally means the animal is chayev. Of course, it's not the animal's chayev, but rather I would say like Dr. Spadel that it's a chefta gavra chil. In other words, where the question whether it's people who see it said the Marasai, they attribute it to the person, and therefore there's no chashash for people who think that it's Jews doing malacha or that it's animals doing malacha, or they attribute it to the animal, in which case there's a potential problem, which is the case by a large animal.
Also, like small animal, this is done in the privacy of a barn. Usually don't go inside.
It's one is public, one is private. But I think shearing is also public. I think you're right about me, but shearing is done out in the fields. It's my impression. But I don't know. What do I know? Okay. Says the Gemara, you should know. You were born in the Bronx Zoo. Okay. So, says the Gemara further. I'm sorry. So says the Gemara, I understand. Since you sell to him lo bemto shalakamu, isn't it the goy's animal? It should be no problem. Everybody knows the goy's animal. The only problem we said is when it's a Jew. The only problem should be when it's a Jew's animal, right? It's really, I'm not sure how to read it. Maybe read is it a Jew's animal? It's not really a Jew's animal. What's the problem? The words vuchosher the carbonator takes out. Okay, we have to delete them. So the Rabbi Ami, the Babylonian, said the name of the rabbis in Bavel. Yes, it's true, hypothetically, once it belongs to the guy, so it belongs to the guy. You shouldn't have to be concerned. However, sometimes you sell the animal to a Jew to a guy for a test run. Give him a test drive, right? And he gives it back 3 days later. So he's going to think when maybe those 3 days will coincide with Shabbos, and they'll see Yankel's animal working on Shabbos and say, "Give out! Yankel's animal works on Shabbos. It must be able to work an animal on Shabbos." Right? So therefore, so says the Gemara, okay, which means also to sell for test drives, but an irrevocable sale, right? No return, so that should be okay.
You don't have to sell it on Thursday, sell it on Sunday.
Okay, maybe the test would be for 4 or 7 days, I don't know, but yeah, it could be. But anyway, that could also be part of the kasha. Says the Gemara, bottom line is Zubi Nezu. They steamrollered it, low plug. They said it's forbidden no matter what, unless you come to sell it for a trial basis. They sold to forbid even permanent sales. Excuse me. If a person transgressed and did sell, what do? Klein Simbo! We fine him. We make him pay for this. We make him buy back the animal. Why? Even if it's a sheep, which is just an minhag, we find a guy in minhagim just like we find a guy in halachas. Says the Gemara, Minayin shkoitzabol l'minhag. How do we know they fine people for transgressing a minhag? So strange. We bring a raya from not a pasuk or halacha, but from a ma'aser shohaya, right? What's the ma'aser shohaya? Certain individuals sold a camel to a guy, which of course is a no-no. And this episode came before Shimon Lakish. The concept of Kifle, he made him pay twice what he got. The Jew made him pay twice what he got to the guy who bought the animal. Begin the Aksle or they should return the camel. So it's a minhag, right? Oh, actually, it's not a minhag. Why is this a minhag?
He's a camel.
Oh, right, because the camel's a riding animal. Right, so it's even though it's a large animal, it's like a ben medaka in that it's a riding animal. Must be like ben beseira, that we allow a horse because a horse is a riding animal. We do the rabbana with it. Very good. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Barbun, right? Yossi Barbun said, "L'sar sur kansu." When there's an agent between the Jew and the goy, we find the agent, and we make the agent pay to reverse the sale. And now we make him pay, and we start shouting at him. In other words, we give him bad names. Bra the the son of an agent to goyim. I guess that was a very effective tool in the old days, insulting people. So they used to insult him as part and parcel of trying to get him to tshuva. Okay, even though it's not calling us kids. It's brawl sounds like you call us kids. Now you're the kids of a person who sells animals to goyim. Means you're a person like that. We have a ben Torah. So it's a ben sarsu legoy. So it's a concept of a person who's affiliated with that type of behavior. Ask more, what is going on here? Shim belakish krabiuda, Shim reish olek krabiuda, Reish Lakish who find the guy who sold to a guy. The Tanan we learned b'shem Rabbi Yehuda, name Rabbi Yehuda, halokei achbei maminakum. Now the name Moshe says that there are a bunch of lines missing here in the Gemara, that the Mishnah is not complete. It brings down the lines from the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, which were or Bechayros, which we're quoting. But I think I'll try and say them outside if I can. If you buy an animal from a goy, v'yolda b'chor, and it gives birth to I'm sorry. Lokech here means you take an animal, not you buy it, but you take an animal as a partner from a goy, meaning that you're going to raise it for yourself and for the goy. So you're like a 50% partner. But what about the b'chor? You don't fully own it, right? Yeah, the goy owns part of it. So halokech b'chor be'emina be'akum v'yolda b'chor, it gives birth to b'chor mali mo b'shaveh. So you divide up evenly, you sell it together with the goy. You give half of the proceeds of your sale to a kohen. Natzlo the Kabbalah. What however if you had an animal and you gave it to a goy to raise, so that really exempts it from b'chayra, because the goy now has a portion in this animal. He has an investment in the animal. He's raising for you. He's your shepherd. So in that case, he fine you. Malima, if you eser damim b'shaveh, you have to buy it, I guess, from the goy for even 10 times what it's worth. I think that's what it means. Yeah, but no, they call them the kohen. You have to give all the money to a kohen, meaning the entire animal to the kohen. I think. I really should have read the Pnei Moshe, but let me just check. Am I right? I think that's right. In any event, it's not so important. The bottom line is that we see Rabbi Yehuda find your shirt off, not just one time, but 10 times what it's worth. Okay, so Yerushalmi Pesachim, just like Yerushalmi Pesachim, find the agent here and made him pay twice what it was worth. Okay, it says Gemara, Chachamim don't hold this fine. They say, there's a look, whenever a guy's fingers in the middle, niftar min ha-bechora. In other words, there's a legitimate loophole for the guy to get out of the halacha bechora for him to give the non-Jew the animal for investment and give him a portion in the animal. Now that's where we paskin b'zman hazeh, of course. B'zman hazeh we give makta to goyim, parts of the mother animal, so that the children should not be chayiv in bechora. The reason we do this is because what are you going to do with the bechor b'zman hazeh? Right? You have to wait till it gets the mum. It can lead to terrible michsholos, the terrible stumbling blocks. In any event, says the Gemara, Reshim Elokish Rabbi Yehuda. Yes, Rish Lakish knows Rabbi Yehuda. V'Rabba min Rabbi Yehuda, and he has an even greater chiddush from Rabbi Yehuda. How so? Min ma'adam Rabbi Yehuda mishum hilchos b'choyer. Because Rabbi Yehuda find the shirt off of you, but at least that's by the Raisa. B'choyer is halacha the Raisa, even b'zman hazeh. Ma'adam Rabbi Shimon Lakish mishum hilchos be'em agasa. Here Rabbi Shimon Lakish is finding your shirt off, but it's only in halacha the Rabbanan, the Marasayin, and that's of course much more severe. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda mati b'shvura. Rabbi Yehuda allows you to sell them broken animals. Lo amar Rabbi Yehuda el b'shvura she'eino yichol yisrapos. It's only by a broken animal which can no longer be healed. It's beyond the point of no return. Amar lo, so he said, so what if it itself is beyond? They said to Rabbi Yehuda, I guess. So what? Even if it itself is beyond the point of no return, they can bring a female and it can give birth from the female, and then people are going to say, oh, Yankel's calf is working on Shabbos, right? Amalei said, you're right, I only said a broken animal which cannot work, which is male, and will not be healed. Amalei said, it's still no good. They'll bring to this male a female, and he will have relations with her. If you'll let a sugar birth, they'll say again, Yankel's calf is working on Shabbos. Rav Avun B'Shei Rabbanan Tamon, Rav Avun, name of the rabbis in Babel, says, since we see that there's Marasayin then even on calves, this tells us you can't even sell them fetuses. You can't sell them the fetus in the mother cow's womb. Why is that? Because we see from the way our Gemara is structured that our kasha is if you sell them a male, then he's going to sire all sorts of animals which are going to be attributed to you, that you cannot give them fetuses because the fetuses are going to be attributed to you as well.
People really going to recognize that this fetus was Yankel?
It's an amazing concept. I guess in the days when they lived on farms, they really had, the Spot Junior looked like Spot Senior, whatever you call cows. Okay, Ma Bell. So, Elsie, right? Okay, so Rabbi Avun B'Shei Rabbanan the Tamon. So we just Tarti, we learned over there. Okay, Ubar Chamoro Shel Akum. If you buy the fetus of a non-Jewish donkey, meaning a donkey which belongs to non-Jews, Hamochelo, the person who, the same idea we had before about Bechora, because there's also halacha Bechor by a donkey, right? But the donkey, the Bechor of a donkey is kadosh until you redeem it. For a sheep, which you give to the Kohen, if you don't redeem it, what do you have to do with it? Break its neck, right? Decapitate it. So it says Yerushalmi, if you buy the pregnant fetus of a goy, or if you sell it to him, even though you're not allowed to because you're depriving of Bechora, if you make a partnership with him, or you receive an animal for him in partnership, you give an animal to him in partnership, as that he should graze it, but in all these cases you're exempt from Bechora. Rabbi Chagai boy kum Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Chagai asked him for Rabbi Yossi. I don't understand. Leisa, well, not no, that's not. Now I don't understand. He brought a ride from here. Leisa Dhamra does not tell us. Shasulam Tilem. It's a big typo. Shasulam Tilem Ubarim. Everybody corrects us. You're not allowed to give them fetuses because it says you're Ava Bishen or Rashai. You're not allowed to. Amar Leisa said, yes, of course you don't have for here. But Kvar Kidmach Rabbi Avun. Rabbi Avun already preceded you. Tomorrow Avun B'Shem Rabbanan Tamon Rabbi Avun said, hey, rabbis over there. Zosamaris, our Mishnah teaches you. The Mishnah we learned on. Our Mishnah teaches us for the fact that it says you can sell them only males. From our Mishnah says one. Oh, that according to Rabbanan, you're not even allowed to sell them fetuses. So that teaches us already. So Smeir Shos until you're not allowed to sell them fetuses. Okay. Let me repeat that. Our Mishnah, where it says that you're not allowed to sell them agonim, stochim, shleim, mushforim, that indicates not allowed to sell them anything which can be attributed to even ubarim. The Yerushalmi already had said that previously. And here too, we're saying that this is clear from our Mishnah. You don't have to resort to Mishnah Bechoros, which talks about donkeys, in order to learn this lesson. Ben Beseira allows you to sell them a horse. Lo ma'avida el besus zachar shu hareg ba'ilo b'milchama. The truth is, does he change the gears here? Yeah, he changed the gears, so I didn't change it in my Gemara, but you have to change it. By the way, the Yerushalmi is full of mistakes. Yerushalmi is full of mistakes. Much more than the Bavli. The Bavli also, the Bach generally has changed it already, but there's no Bach on the Yerushalmi. So part of the fun of learning Yerushalmi is that the pen is readily available. So here it says the Korban Eidah changed this one. Lo Amar Ben Beseira, because we're not talking about Rabbi, you're talking about Ben Beseira. So Ben Beseira says, so that which Ben Beseira allows a horse, he wants to say is only because El Susachar, they're female horses. And that's why he's not just selling them male horses. Why is that? Lo Amar Ben Beseira Susachar Shuhayik Bal. Excuse me. If you ride a male horse in war, it's suicide. You'll die. Why is that? That's one reason. Because some say it doesn't go to eat, it pursues the females who are in heat. Right. First things first, he runs after the female. Bet you didn't know this. But female horses, they urinate as they walk, as they gallop. Male horses stop to urinate. There must be some lesson in this. I don't know exactly what it is. But, so therefore, says you're allowed to sell male horses, because that's good. They'll die in war. What's the difference between the two reasons? One, that the one of running after a female, or the one of standing urinating? A sris, a castrated horse. And for some reason, Yerushalmi feels it necessary to explain that explicitly. The opinion holds that it kills its owner in war because he pursues a female. It's castrated, doesn't pursue a female. Opinion chose the problem is going to stand and urinate. Even though he's castrated, he's still going to stand and urinate in place. Now, says the word Divrei Chachamim. It's all different Chachamim. Rabbi Yaakov Shem Rabbi Tanchum Bar Chia said, no, if that's the logic, we can't be matir. Why? Because l'sheyaskin who kol no breichayu. Because it's still going to be a problem of Shabbos. Because when the horse is too old to go to war, so he's going to harness it to his grindstone and do work on Shabbos with it. So Rabbi Yosef B'Shem Ben Barabun B'Shem Rabbi Chuna Ben Beseira. Sorry, misplaced punctuation. Rabbi Yosef Barabun B'Shem Rabbi Chuna said that Ben Beseira v'Rab Nosson Amru Dover Echad. The Beseira and Rabbi Yochanan both said the same thing. That the Rabbi Nosson both said the same thing. That the logic is based on Chai Nosei Esatzmo. The Tani we learned Hotzi Behema Chayav Ofos Ben Chayim Ben Mason. What if you took out an animal, a small animal, a Behema Chayav Ofos, or any kind of animal? You carry it out. Rabbi Nosson Omer Chayav. I'm sorry. Tanakam says Chayav because they're all considered to be that you're carrying them. Rabbi Nosson Omer Mason Chayav. Rabbi Nosson said if they're dead, you're chayav for carrying them out. If they're chayim potter, if they're alive potter. Why? Because we say chay no seis atzmo. I mean, the rights of any living creature carries itself. So therefore, all these creatures are carrying themselves. So therefore, at the Raisa level, you are potter. You only chayiv and you only also at the Rabbanan level. So Ben Beseira and Rabbi Nosson both agree it's only also the Rabbanan. That's not an impediment to sell them the horse. Okay? Says more Rabbi Nosson Mason chayiv potter. Only if they're dead you're chayiv. If they're alive you're exempt. Rabbanan isum mishum chayiv chatos. So it says more. Wait a minute, I don't understand something. Rabbanan is a kasha. Rabbanan isum mishum chayiv chatos. Rabbanan hold you're not allowed to sell them behema because they're going to do a malacha. So why do they respond to him and say instead here that that it's because of the just a second. Okay, I made a mistake before, minor mistake. When it said right before two dots, Rabbi Yachim B'Shem Rabbi Tanchum Bar Chia said, that's Rabbanan speaking to Ben Beseira. The Rabbanan said to Ben Beseira, you allow a horse for whatever reason, either because it died, kills him in war, or because Chayno says Atzmo, it still should be usher. Because if the horse gets old, so instead of using it to carry stuff, or in war, you're going to use it to grind your wheat. So there's a problem. Because the guy's going to use the wine to grind his wheat. So then the problem looks like Marisai, right? It looks like the Jews' animals at work, right? So now.
Somebody might say sold
No, because you might come to sell it in Israel.
Sorry?
This is a unique halacha because you might come to sell it on a trial basis. Okay? So now it says, Rabbanan isu mishum chayav chatos. Rabbanan should have said that anyway, forget about when it gets old. Right now you're going to use it to carry birds. Or you're going to use it to carry small animals. And now that's a malacha d'oraisa. Because you're using the beast of burden for the burden. Don't talk about when it gets old. Say right now is the problem. Right now, because we Rabbanan hold, that except for human beings, animals which are being carried by other animals, they don't carry themselves. So therefore Rabbanan should speak about the immediate problem. So says Marabana Isum Mishum Chayav Chatas. Vina Masimin Le'Achen. So ask him a kash instead from the issue of when he gets older. Talk about the year now. So it says Mar Kishitaso Yishivu. So he answered him according to his line reading, Ben Beseira. Since you don't agree with us, we hold that now it's this of the rice. If he carries a bird, it's this of the rice because we don't know if Chayno says Atzmo. But even according to you, who holds that the Chayno says Atzmo, you should also concede it's forbidden to sell the horse, right? Because of Anan of Islam, the Shiasku Koder Be'echayim, because at least we should hold that which it says when it gets old that he's going to use it to grind. Rebbe says, I'd say it's also to sell them a large animal because of two things. Mishum Klei Zayin and Mishum Ilchos Be'em Agasa. Because of it can serve for weapons, meaning it provokes more war. In other words, well, actually, it causes more death in war. Having animals causes more death in war. People get trampled to death and such like. And they get pursued by the cavalry with more efficiency. So therefore, I'd say it's also to sell them large animals because of two reasons. One, because of the Shabbos issue, and the other because it promotes more death in the battlefield. Okay? Says the Gemara, V'tanike, we also learned this. Chaya gasa k'beima gasa. A large, non-domesticated animal, which is called the chaya, say a large, I don't know what that would be. I mean, a dog is a chaya, a wolf is a chaya. I don't know, but that's what we're referring to here. But anyway, chaya gasa k'behema gasa. A chaya gasa is like a behema gasa, even though you're not going to do any work with it. Why? Because if you release it on the battlefield, it's going to cause more mayhem and death. Matri, so it's the author of this Rebbe. Who's the author of this price? A Rebbe who holds it's an issue not just of the work on Shabbos, but also of serving to run rampage in the battlefield. The rabbis, however, Rabbi Chanim Bar B'Shem Rav said, Chaya Gasa Kibeim Adako. According to the Rabbanim who argue on Rabbi Chanim Bar B'Shem Rav said concerning them that they hold, since they hold the only issue is Shabbos, Mulach Shabbos, so Chaya Gasa, even a large non-domesticated animal, is only like a small goat. And that it would only be also because of minhag. Because since they're the only issue is Shabbos, and you don't work with them on Shabbos, so therefore the only issue might be a minhag, lest you come to sell them an animal which works on Shabbos. Whereas according to Rebbe, who throws the additional smart weaponry, so according to him, it's also to sell them the large, non-domesticated animal as well.
The Israeli arms or merchants that sell the Uzis to
somebody else, right? Not supposed to promote war among Goyim as well. Unless you bring the profit motive, but we'll leave that alone for now. A place where they have a custom to eat roast. Pesach night. Ochlim, you may do so. The whole place of is not to eat roast. And ochlim, they cannot eat. A place of the is to eat, to light a candle Yom Kippur night, madlikin. It's interesting, they didn't hold of the mitzvah. We nowadays make a bracha. They didn't. They didn't have that mitzvah. You'll see. Place of the minig is not to light, they don't light. You light candles, of course, in shuls and batei medrash, or both of them in dark alleys. Va'af al gabe yecholin, also where there's sick people. Rabbi Bar Kumi Rabbi Ami. Are there those who are machmir not even to roast calf meat on Pesach night? You know, calves can't be a korban Pesach. Yes. What about birds? Yes. Even a roast egg. Even a roast fish. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Chanin. No, not that far. Only something which is slaughtered you're not allowed to roast. So it's not slaughtered like vegetables or fish. Like eggs or fish is not a problem. The Maisa, I don't think we roast anything. Nothing. But the Sfardim do. They even have roast lamb on the night of Pesach. Okay? Now, Tani, Rabbi Shimon Elazar Omer, Yom Kippur Shchalis b'Shabbos. When Yom Kippur comes down on Shabbos, Afilu b'Makom, it should be Shenagu Shelo Lahadlik. The place that a minute not to light Madlikin. That's interesting because you see, when Yom Kippur comes down on Shabbos, you light because of Shabbos, but not because of Yom Kippur. So you see, the Yerushalmi held there's a mitzvah to light on Shabbos, but no mitzvah on Yom Kippur. When Yom Kippur comes on Shabbos, you gotta light because of the mitzvah of Shabbos. Okay, now Bavli assumes the equal mitzvah of Yom Kippur. They learned a special talk about in your bedroom whether you should light a light, right? Because of Tashmish, which we'll see in a moment. But the Bavli Yerushalmi goes even further than that. So the question is whether there's no mitzvah according to Yerushalmi inherently to light Yom Kippur. Okay? Rabbi Shimon Levi said that Rabbi Yosef ben Shob said, B'Shem Rebbe, named Rebbe, Halukah Shem Elazar, that Yom Kippur comes on Shabbos, then you gotta light candles, for sure. Darash Rabbi Chia Bar Bo, it's very called Rabbi Shem Elazar. He went down, Darash it's very like Rabbi Shem Elazar. Rabbi Yesi Omar, Law, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman, B'Shem Rabbi Yonasan, Rabbi Chizkiah, Amilon, some say Rabbi Yaakov Bar Nachman, B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel said, but Nachman said, Makom Shno Lahalik Meshubach, Makom Shno Lahalik. It's better to light candles Yom Kippur than not to light candles. It's a better minhag. There's a minhag not to light, so follow that minhag, but it's better minhag to light. If you have to initiate a new minhag, that's the minhag to take. Okay? Rabbi Yirmiyah said, why? How is that? Taylor Shukei. I'll prove that to you. Sharei Yom Kippurim Shchayis b'Shabbos. When Yom Kippur comes on Shabbos, Afilu Magam Shalom Nagu Shalom Lali. In places normally don't light Maligin. So you see, lighting always has preference over not lighting. Takes precedence. So it seems maybe they're trying to make a shtickle mitzvah. It's not clear exactly what they're trying to do. Right, but they both said Teil Choshu Kain. You should know it's better to have a candle lit because of the reason given in the Bible as well. Sharira Isha Zet Sanua. A person is modest. Then Mishamish Mitasal or Aner. Then it's not going to have relations if there's candlelight in the room. And you should know both the person who holds you light, the person who holds you don't light. It's all because of perhaps you're going to come to Avera, one of the forbidden activities of having Taj B'Shur and Yom Kippur. You said you do light. Shurom is Bayish. They see each other and they're embarrassed to be because it's customary to be in the dark. Who says you don't like so you shouldn't see your wife and you shouldn't be overcome by Taiva and Yom Kippur. Tani we learned Afilu Bate, it's a typo, it should be Kisos Ubate Mirchatzos. You even light candles in bathrooms and bathhouses. Lachain Tzricha, and what are we coming? It's Pasha. Afilu Magam Shalono Gulali in places of the niggas not to light. Maligi in these places you do light, of course, because it's necessary for obvious reasons. Okay, the sugi really. We'll end here for tonight.
This one, first part. It said there's a minute to go out to the sea of the Yamagoto.
That was we did that last week. Yeah, that was remember he said because ought to leave Eretz Yisrael.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I mentioned it after Baruch Hu last week.
All right.